Hi, in this demo, let's have a look at how we can secure sensitive information when users with higher privileges access the SAP ERP data directly from the database with the NextLabs DAE solutions. I have here a user, John.Tyler, who has admin privileges. The SAP ECC system is running on an Oracle database, and I'm going to be using the SQL Plus tool to directly query and manipulate some of the sensitive information in the database directly. Let's quickly jump into the system. So I have two scenarios here where I try to query data from the table T-bar, which actually holds some of the sensitive banking account information, right? So what I'm trying to do is, first thing is to dynamically filter some of the sensitive information. Say, for example, here I want to deny the user access to a German account records, right? And I also want to selectively filter the French account numbers by masking the data. In the meantime, I also have another scenario where I would like to prevent the database user to directly update or manipulate the data in the table as well. So let me quickly jump into the system for the demo. So the first step is to deploy a policy which does the data segregation and the masking, and followed by the policy that will actually prevent the user from manipulating the data, right? So here I have the first policy, which is going to restrict the database users from accessing the German account as well as mask some of the French account details, right? So here I have the policy, which is an allow policy, and its subject is the DBA users, where John.Tyler is a part of this user. And I have two tables here, table T-ban and T-ban copy, and it belongs in the Oracle schema, right? So the action that the user might be performing here is the select on the query. Then we have the conditions here, which is predicate condition banks not equal to D. So what it does is basically it will only allow the user to query, even when he runs the open query, to display only records that are not German accounts in the first place, right? On top of the data filtering setting here, I also have another scenario where I selectively mask the French account numbers, right? So if you see here, I'm going to be masking field BA and KL in this particular table T-ban. I'm going to apply a full mask, and I have a selective condition which says the country key is actually French, FR, right? So this is the first policy that does data segregation and the data masking for the user. And how do I prevent the manipulation of the data, right? So I have another policy here which says restrict DBA users from performing data manipulations directly to sensitive data sets. So let me quickly jump into this policy here. So I have the scenario where the user is again belongs to the same group, and I have selected these tables here in this. So T-ban is also a set of sensitive tables here, and I'm going to prevent the user from performing the insert, update, or delete functions. So this is a simple policy construct for disabling data manipulation directly at the database with users with higher privileges. So now let me go to the system for the demo. So I'm logging in as John.Tyler. So I have the user John.Tyler here. Let me log into the Oracle database directly from the MS SQL program, right? So first thing is I'm going to connect as the master user. So with the database admin here. So if you see here, I'm trying to connect to the Oracle database with the SAP SR3 user, right? SAP SR3 is the high privilege user which the SAP system itself uses to access the ERP data. So this has a complete open access to the entire ERP schema in the ABAC layer, right? So I'm going to be logging in as the user here. Yeah, so now first let's try to query the user, the table T-ban, and let's see what's happening here. Right, let me query the results. You can see that you have some data that is displayed, that are query results. You can also notice that if you see the banks column, you can see that there is no record which shows that country is DE, because the policy is preventing the user to access those data. And secondly, because we had a selective data masking, just for the French country key accounts, you can see that the banking account number is actually masked. So this is the dynamic data masking feature of the DAE solution. So you can collectively do data segregation and data masking in one simple policy. So now let's see how do we prevent the manipulation of the data from the user. So it's the same user who has the same higher privileges. Now let me try to execute some of the data manipulation statements. So if you see here, we do have country key data with records which has the country key as GB. So let's try to delete the data. So let me run this command. So delete from the table where count is this. You can see that operation 0 is succeeded. That means the delete is basically prevented by the policy. So the user is not able to delete the data. Let's say he wants to manipulate some data by inserting a new account number or something, right? He is unable to manipulate the data by using an update statement as well. And if he wants to create a new record, let me try to run that particular command as well. You can see that operations on delete, update, and insert has failed, which is in line with the policy here. The only SQL statement that he can execute is basically the select statement, and that too on the select statement he has some conditions, right? So those conditions are also respected by the policy engine of the DAE solution. And that is the end of the demo for the Oracle database protection with the NextLabs DAE solution. Thank you.